Hello and welcome to Academic Integrity in the Age of AI. These are some guidelines for HyFlex courses, but applies to any type of course, especially those courses which predominantly are online, synchronous or asynchronous. We'll start out with the challenge. We all know as we're coming to this particular workshop, this particular session, that we are facing a challenge in our classrooms. And the challenge, among many other things, are that AI tools are becoming increasingly accessible to students and being used by those students. There's many professors that wish that they can just wish AI away, but that is not a viable alternative and a way to handle AI in our classes. Traditional academic integrity approaches need to move beyond policing. I know at many institutions they just want to lock it down, they want to make it unavailable to students, but that's impossible because of their own internet access outside of the institution, plus the fact that in the workplace and every place outside of school, they're going to be able to use that anyway, anytime they want, and any device that they want. So we need to move beyond police and beyond AI detection or plagiarism detection, because of course we've seen that that's not foolproof. Um, we see mistakes, especially for English as a second language learners, um, and those people get caught, and it's not necessarily AI, it's not necessarily plagiarism. We can use those tools as just what it is, a tool to be able to help students write better and to point them to better resources and better ways of learning and showing their learning. And then we need also to model a balance between innovation and actual learning. So we know, of course, as we use AI, and I'll just say in this presentation, I've used AI extensively for the creation of this. But if I was to only do that, and have never studied and never looked at information myself and understood the information uh, as far as AI is concerned and how it interacts with HyFlex, we wouldn't actually be learning. I'd just be regurgitating the information that I have seen on the internet. We need to have that balance between the innovation of AI, bringing that into the classroom, and also how do we teach students to actually learn, not just to regurgitate information. So here are some tips to kind of help you incentivize or encourage students to not use AI inappropriately. So one of the first things you need to do is create clear assignment guidelines. So explicitly state the appropriate and inappropriate ways of using AI tools for individual assignments. I know that we always say, let's point back to the syllabi. You should remember at the beginning of the semester um, each assignment, what's my expectations, but I recommend that you put it in every single assignment. What are your expectations? Explicitly state the good part and the bad part of what AI is in a short statement. Explain why those restrictions exist. Be very clear. It's not to catch them, it's actually to increase and to incentivize their learning, and be very upfront about why you're doing the things that you're doing. So in an assignment, I usually recommend that faculty have a what and a why. What is a learning objective? And the why is this not busy work type of statement, like a motivational statement, but also just give them exact reasons why you're giving them assignment, and then give them exact reasons why they can't use AI exclusively to give you the answer. Of course, you're not asking, please tell me what's in the textbook, because you know what's in the textbook, or what you know what's in that article, you know what's in that video. Um, you're going to be designing assignments to get their learning as opposed to just grabbing something off the internet or grabbing something from AI. Also, just make sure that you connect those assignments to learning objectives, as I said. Point back to exact reasons why you're giving that particular assignment to the student. Here's an example that I have. I have at the end of this slide deck some example prompts. We have a series of articles within the Vanguard University website, teaching and learning website, that give you examples on how to build these statements into written paper assignments, quizzes, discussions, in any number of types of assignments. So the example prompt here is a written paper, and here's kind of the example of the verbiage. The written assignment is designed to help us both evaluate your understanding and personal application of the content and concepts covered in previous weeks. While you may consult other people, other resources, and other tools such as AI programs, ChatGPT, and others to help generate ideas and brainstorm, You may not use these people, resources, or tools to write portions or the entirety of your paper for you. In addition, the material generated by AI programs frequently is inaccurate, incomplete, or otherwise problematic. Beware that use may also stifle your independent thinking and creativity. And of course, we also put our specific integrity statement and our policy, so they'll know that in every single assignment. They don't have to go back to a sell-by or go to the website. They see it right here, so you can point to it, and it says completion of this assessment acknowledges that you have read and understand the expectations above. Of course, we know, as we would not, we'll skip past some of this verbiage at the end of assignment. In our learning management system is where I would recommend you put it, not just rely on it sitting inside a PDF version of a syllabi. But if you put these types of prompts at the very end of your assignment and then just point to them and remind students after every week with announcements and everything, just make sure you look at what my expectations are and then keep on pointing them back to that. It will help them understand what the appropriate use of, and you're modeling that appropriate use in the classroom. So here are some assessment design tips for success that I kind of want to go through and give you. Of course, this is a very short session. I want to make sure that you get some of these tips, but also I'll give you some links here at the end of this presentation. Focus on process, not just product. Design assignments that emphasize the steps involved in completing the task. Chunk your assignments, like we've always learned in Universal Design for Learning. Ask for brainstorming if they want to use AI, if that's the appropriate place for that, and then have them cite that they're using AI and what they're using and how they're using it for outlining and revising. And this approach makes it difficult for students to rely solely on AI-generated content, especially if their first draft is a lot of AI, and then you go back and say, I want some more personalized, I want you to show how you got here, basically show your work type of assignments. And I know this in the very beginning, the first steps, it could be a little bit more AI use, and then as they get into it, you want their personal reflections. You want to create content-specific activities and discussions. So this is very key in that you would use class-specific content, not just general knowledge, but specific to that particular textbook, specific to that particular article. Make sure that you can personalize it as much as possible. Make it interactive if you're going to do discussions. Have it model a real discussion and a back and forth interactivity between the students and yourself. And then also have them record some of their work. Like have a short video. In this case, I'm using Canvas Studio to record this slide deck and this presentation. Have them record their face and them talking just conversationally, explaining how they went through and did their tasks. Of course, they can make a script using AI and read it, and even using a teleprompter type of an app or something like that. But if you just ask them to do a discussion and kind of show their work, show their learning using this recording, you don't have to do it for every assignment. Just every once in a while, you put those in there so that they can show some of the other assignments that you may have that are a little bit more have a tendency to lean toward AI use. If you have them show their work and actually what they're learning and reflect on in a video, it helps to show things. This is especially true if you don't have an in-person section or an in-person availability for students to choose. If you have a HyFlex that's maybe Zoom and asynchronous rather than having any classroom time, you wouldn't have any face-to-face time to see if they're learning and asking questions in a real live classroom. You could in a synchronous session, but I'm designing these prompts and these tips just as if you are just having a completely online version of a HyFlex class. Then these tips will make it harder for AI to be to provide relevant and accurate responses if you help ask them to personalize and create videos with themselves on it. Create assignment based on current events. The more current it is, the less AI is going to have those articles. Tailor assignments to current events that require them to apply concepts to their own experiences and their local context. In this particular case, I live in San Diego. The institution is in Costa Mesa, California. Find articles you can stick into the curriculum and have them look up those articles or point them to, hey, I want you to find an article within the last year that shows this, and then give me your take on that. Of course, they can feed that into AI and get summaries and things like that. but weave those videos into it. Ask for personal reflections. How would you use this in your own environment at home, at the workplace, in your future workplace? Personalize it as much as possible. Require reflective and metacognitive writing. So ask the students to reflect on their learning process. As they're going through, I like to use Bloom's taxonomy to actually have a before assignment, which is usually understand and remember, during assignment, which is that come to class, come to Zoom, or do this online equivalent assignment. And that would be analyze and apply type of kind of section of Bloom's. And then the after class assignment would be a create and evaluate type of assignment. So you're actually asking, having wording to show their level of learning, but also have them reflect on that level of learning and be kind of very out loud, very upfront about how they're learning and what that process is allowing them to glean and to get insights from. How they overcome the challenges. This helps them to engage a genuine intellectual work and makes the learning visible. Emphasize critical thinking and originality. You want to design assignments that require students to analyze and evaluate and synthesize information and solve complex problems and integrate multiple sources. So when you have them integrate sources, of course, in their use of AI, they could be completely fake, hallucinated sources. Have them use sources that they've actually gone to, give insight and annotated bibliography in a video form is a really great way to do that, where they walk through and kind of give you some insights about what each individual article is about. Make sure that they cite those articles and just tell them in the expectations that if any of these sources are not real sources, that you will automatically know that they didn't do the research that you're asking them to do. And of course, that's an opportunity for a conversation, not an opportunity to catch them and to give them a bad grade. So we need to know also that no assignment is completely AI proof. We know that in our experience, and we just need to know that we can get all the tools in the world and we're never going to be able to catch everything. Even assignments designed to be AI resistant are not foolproof. We can incentivize learning just like we always have with that AI. We can incentivize learning, but there still can be their cheating of learning, where they're cheating themselves out of actually learning and retaining that information that they're looking at and learning and getting a degree for. You need to also focus on teaching and not just detection. Rather than solely focusing on AI detection tools, educators like ourselves, we should focus on teaching students how to use AI responsibly and ethically, as opposed to just say, don't use it or just use it however much you want. And some professors are not even checking at all. They have so much work on their plate, teaching so many classes at a time. They don't have enough time to catch students. So we need to help model the responsible use of AI and just be upfront about what are the advantages and disadvantages of learning and using AI to students' learning, but also to the environment and to many other ethical things that we need to be looking at as well. And then if you do suspect inappropriate AI use, just prepare for the conversation before going into it. Before the meeting with a student, you need to focus on these things. Be clear, explain the behavior you find problematic in a kind way, describe what happened, just email them, call them, whatever the appropriate way is for your particular students. Be compassionate, approach the conversation as an opportunity for learning, understanding that students may feel distressed, and be candid. Be honest about your perspective on the incident and the implications. And just be clear to the student that, of course, in our case, we have to report out these types of things to a reporting tool that just shows that to every single professor so they can see it. Okay, how's this student been doing it in multiple classes? So we can approach it in a more holistic way. But it's more important to be able to just have that one-on-one conversation with the student. In the majority of cases, the students will fess up really, really quickly that they used it. And you say, it's all right. I want you to be able to resubmit this. I want you to have your own work. The intent of this assignment is not for you to get stuff from AI or get stuff from the internet. It's for you to learn and then show your learning to me in ways that just show that you're able to integrate and personalize the information that you're learning. These slides, this information on this presentation came from a series of articles that I have written using information from gleaning from all over the place with different universities, including these resources that are on this page. So you have emphasize relationships and belonging, develop a code of ethics, focus on mastery, communicate standards and expectations clearly. That in that communicate standards and expectations is where those example prompts are at. Select relevant assignment types, check in throughout the class, and how to approach a student suspect of cheating. You saw little summaries of that throughout this presentation, but those are all articles from the Vanguard University Teaching and Learning website. So you can get there. Of course, there's way more in those articles than what is in this presentation. And then, of course, here's some other areas where I've gained insight from. I've got a lot out of Christopher Ostro, his literature review on AI detection, the literature review, both slides and video here, and the University of Colorado Boulder Learning Design Group, the video, student use of AI, a panel dialogue, and then of course some links to some of the tools, the AI detection tools. Hopefully you'll get some great information out of there. This particular community within the HyFlex community is here to support, and we're here to learn off one another. How do we deal with AI in the classroom in a way that's going to help ourselves, help our students, and increase and incentivize academic integrity overall? Again, I'm Dr. David Rhodes, the Director of Hybrid and Emerging Pedagogy at Vanguard University, and here is my contact information if you need to get a hold of me.